excited to see all of you. We've got things absolutely exploding. Last week was a record week here in Atlanta. We had the Atlanta takeover, and we had tremendous momentum. Last night, I was real proud of our guys in Atlanta last night because it was a torrential downpour for about 45 minutes before our meeting last night, and even the lights went out, the power went out in the whole building last night. And I was convinced at quarter till that there were going to be 2 or 3 of us there, and we ended up with a full house. Great people made it in. Just got off the call with the great Rory and Andrea Douglas team. They're in the middle of their CEO MD run, and I met with all their key leaders, and it's happening. We have amazing things happening, guys. Mauricio Garcia is providing us with some of the greatest tools I've ever seen. He simplifies them more every day. We'll probably have him say something at the end of the call today to kind of tease you on what's coming. Use him a lot next week. But we're ready to rumble. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, in my actually in my home right now, and I'm thankful to have Krena helping us run things here, and the great Kimberly Odie is here to go over some things that I think are going to be very meaningful for you today. Also, this is a very special week for the company in Canada, where we've had soft launches before, but we are ready to go, and there's a huge event Saturday in Canada, which I'm just very jealous that I'm not going to be at. It's my anniversary, so I have something else I'm going to do, so I'm not too jealous that I'm not going to be up there. But boy, I really want to be. And let me tell you about what kind of event it's going to be. You got Aki Rupani, Prashant. You got all these other leaders that are going to go up there in person to be part of this event. Tim's going up there. I believe he leaves tomorrow or Thursday, whenever he goes to be going up there. So I'm very excited about Canada. Now, also, just so you guys will know, next Saturday, a week from this Saturday, which I think is the 18th, I will be in Salt Lake City. We've got a big event in Salt Lake City. So if you have people in the Salt Lake City area, let me know. We can get them to the event. Having a bop, big training session, great things happening out there.
What dates are those, Jody?
That is the 18th, Adam. I'll be there if you want to come over and see me.
Thank you.
You'd be great for thanks. But yeah, we'll be there. And exciting things going on. So let's get going for today. I was going to be very practical, hands-on training when we get case studies. And we'll start off by hearing from the great Tim O'Rourke. Tim?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Yeah, wow. Talk about some interesting things going on. We obviously, everybody's been watching the news, I'm sure, about this Israel-Iran conflict that's going on. And as you probably heard some of my comments, I've spent 3 years in the Middle East living in Saudi Arabia. I lived on the Red Sea in a city called Jeddah, and I was working for the Ministry of Defense and Aviation over there. Quite an interesting career I had for those years and got to know the culture. Living in the Middle East was it's like living on the moon, literally, from our Western kind of habitat here. You know, you can't do things like we have. There's no movie theaters, there's no bowling alleys, there's no entertainment really like we have. And it's a religious culture over there that's quite different from ours. And they are very, so they have religious police in the streets, and Saudi Arabia is the protector of Medina and Mecca, which are the religious capitals of the Muslim religion. And so when you have fanatical religion leaders like you do in Iran, and so if you understand the political kind of things going on there, I heard the interview with the Prime Minister of Israel recently that they had this past weekend, and he was talking about how they fear that Iran is getting closer and closer to making a nuclear weapon, and that's why they took that preemptive strike and they attacked all their military installations. They weren't going after the public; they were going after military kind of facilities. And so in doing so, the Iranians countered with 300 missiles, ballistic missiles, and attacked Tehran, and Israel, and so obviously uh, Israel countered with basically they took over all the air, they took out all their uh, ability to counter with any air attack. So again, Israel is such a powerful military that they took out all of their air force capabilities. So Iran still has the ability to attack, through missiles. And so there's this war going on now. Israel is, what are they going to do? Iran wants to settle this all of a sudden because they know that they can't control their airspace, and Israel could easily come in there and wipe them out. But that's going to cause, I think, a lot of strife in the region, and so there's a lot of fear. We've seen oil prices go up already above $75 for Brent, if you've watched the news on that. And we've seen the markets kind of react, but they settle down at the same time. And we really don't know what's going to happen. Again, we're at that point where there's so much uncertainty. This is just adds another layer of uncertainty into the markets. We've got the tariff situation, as we all know. We got the debt crisis. If you watch the debt clock, I like to pull it up sometimes, and it kind of makes you go dizzy. Watching the debt cycle go nuts. It's at $37 trillion. It's about ready to tick over to $37 trillion for the US debt. We're at almost 2.1 trillion on a deficit level that we're going to hit on the budget this year. And with that new big, beautiful budget that they're trying to pass through, it got through the House. I don't think it's going to make it through the Senate. But so you've got all these things going on, and I call them kind of a risk profile on the markets. The markets are looking at all this stuff. You got the debt, you've got interest rates, you've got inflation, you've got this Middle Eastern unrest, you got the oil markets. It's getting complicated out there now, and we're seeing this. We've always seen this, I think, from time to time. This isn't anything new. We're always going to see this. There's always going to be, seems like, well, why can't we get along? Why are all these wars happening? And I don't think I think it's pretty clear America doesn't want to get into another war, but we have quite a military here, and as artificial intelligence, I think, starts to get more and more enhanced, you're going to see more and more wars fought through artificial intelligence, which is kind of scary. I don't know where that's going to go, but back to the implications on the market right now. The Federal Reserve is meeting today, and they're going to make their announcement here in a little less than 2 hours about what they're going to do with interest rates, which I predict, and pretty much the markets predict, they're going to do nothing, because when you don't really know what's going to happen here, it's hard to make any adjustments in the interest rates right now. So I think the prudent thing right now is sit back on our hands. Trump's calling and trying to ridicule the Federal Reserve Chairman right now, Powell, and I don't agree with that. I think he's doing the right thing, just sitting back and trying to watch things and let it all siphon out. But this is causing a lot of unrest in the markets and unemployment. I saw that unemployment was up to 246,000 new unemployment figures came in today, as well as I noticed that the real estate market kind of hit a new low for 5 years as far as real estate new real estate starts hit a 5-year low today from last week. So we're seeing all this kind of accumulate, and what that means is we're going to see more and more slowdown in the economy coming here, probably in the fall to the latter part of the year. So with that, I think we're going to see basically this all kind of filter out. So anyway, that's my report for the day, and I'll turn it back to you, Kimberly or Jody, whoever you want to do, and
I got it for right now for a couple of minutes. First of all, thank you so much, Tim. Powerful, powerful stuff. It just, I was kind of chuckling when you talked about the debt clock. I was thinking about everybody should have their own personal debt clock. I think if they could see it, and I think if they could see their own personal debt clock, that they'd react accordingly, maybe, and if they saw it in real time. I'm very excited about some other things. I wanted to recognize Caesar. I know Amy's on. I don't know if Caesar's on, but they qualified for RMD. I want to congratulate them for that. That's a really big deal. So, Amy, if you could represent your family and let them know how much you mean to us, and then there you are. So, thank you. Was it exciting, Run?
It's amazing, Ryan. Thank you. Actually, Caesar's over here next to me. Well, he's on the other side. We're at the over the top office today,
Okay.
but very happy about this promotion, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're very proud of him and you, and know that it's just a start. And guys, I would like to challenge all of you to know what it takes to earn your next promotion. That's what we're all about. We got to have everybody moving. Everybody's got to be chasing, moving something at all times. Remember that. If your people don't know what's next for them, how are they supposed to go forward? If you are an RMD, you're responsible to make sure everybody in your team and your base shop knows what they can do to move forward. And a couple other really, really cool things I want to show you as we're getting ready to move forward on the call. And I'm going to consolidate this, but the other day I was messing around with Chat GPT, and I went in, and in it I posed a question to it. And some of you've seen this, but I know some of you haven't, so I'm going to show it to you today. But I posed the question in Chat GPT, which was, who is the greatest individual builder of financial services or financial distribution teams? And look what it pulled up. It's pretty cool. Number one, Hubert Humphrey, World Financial Group, and talks about the legacy that he's built in different things in the system. And number two is Art Williams, and then others. And it's interesting on Patrick Bet-David here, who's big influencer in today's world. But it goes through, if you look down at that little third paragraph under Patrick Bet-David, it says heavily influenced by the models WFG and Primerica. So it kind of tells you where he came from. And it actually goes on to say that a lot of people in all these different industries. And it also says that the reason that my dad's not listed as one of the top 10 in network marketing is that we're technically not network marketing, which is powerful. And then at the very bottom here, and I can send this to you if you want it, but it's awesome. I love this. It says, if you're asking in terms of recruitment-based distribution, Hubert Humphrey and Art Williams are widely credited as the godfathers of mass financial distribution teams. Now, the reason I show you that is when we're out talking to people and telling them that we are the company of destiny and all those great things, we aren't just out telling people that. We're not just out throwing it from the front of a room. I think that's absolutely fantastic to see that. Very, very exciting for us to have that. And we're all about growing and getting better. Wednesday's call specifically is for us to get better on the product side and the concept side. And that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to do it in a hands-on way and also tie it to how we make money. So I'm going to turn the rest of the time over now to Kimberly Odie, and we'll go from there. Well, actually, Mauricio, as Kimberly's taking care of her last thing, talk to them just for a second, just to talk about some new things in the lab. Well, Mauricio did a phenomenal job last night at our office in really simplifying the tools that we have, and absolutely amazing. I'm very, very excited about this. So it's fantastic. All right, you ready, Kimberly?
I am ready. Sorry, I had to
Awesome.
take the dog out because they're just going a little crazy.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me turn my phone over because it's blowing up and people are chatting with me, which distracts me at this moment. But all right, so we're going to go over some sample client situations. I think that I've pulled out all identifying information. I will scroll through here again just to make sure that no names are here, and they're old. So anyway, it doesn't matter because it should not. I'm just scrolling really quick to make sure. Pretty sure that everything's out of here. But I want you guys to see, really what we do. We have this question quite often. They're like, "Oh, that sounds great. What do you actually do?" Right? And people ask that all the time. So today I want to take you through literally step by step what it looks like when we talk with clients. For the last several weeks, you've seen the calculators that Mauricio is designing, and they are fantastic and they're amazing. You guys have heard me for years train on the FNA and the FNA process. I don't think it's an either or. I think it comes together, and I think it comes together beautifully. We have, and you're going to hear me say this, but we have a paper FNA that you can take. But in my opinion, and just hear me out when I say this, the first meeting is going to be a conversation, right? Because that's when you're creating a relationship with your clients. That's when they're getting used to you, you're getting used to them, and they're hearing everything that you have to say, and they're deciding, hey, do I like this person? Do I want to do business with this person? And you're walking them through those questions. I prefer on that meeting to take it on paper, because I feel like I can engage more when I'm asking questions and I'm making notes than if I'm typing in a computer. I feel like typing in a computer for me is less personal. So that's my opinion on how to do that. But when you take that initial FNA, I've already done 2 this morning. When you take that initial FNA, it is a conversation, right? It's talking about who they are. I lead every single question. Who wants to unmute and tell me my very first question that I ask every single client every single time? Because it's going to be the same. So anybody know?
If you could wave a magic wand, what would your life look like? What would you do with your life? What would it look like if you could wave a magic wand today?
Look at you, Bonnie. Brand new to the team last week. Congratulations. Thank you. She heard me ask that this morning, right? But I ask that question every single time. If I could wave a magic wand and tomorrow looks exactly like you want it to look like, what is that? And sometimes people are like, what do you mean? I mean, if you could win the lottery, if you won the lottery and tomorrow, what does it look like? What are you going to do? What are your dreams? What are your goals? What drives you? What moves you? And one of my appointments this morning, he was like, all right, well, I've got this money here and this money here and this money here. I'm like, okay. And because he's telling me that, of course, I'm taking notes and I'm writing it down, right? I'm not going to ask him the same questions again. But once he finished kind of throwing that out there about where he was, I was like, all right, I'm going to take you back to the beginning of this process, and I'm going to start this conversation like I start with everyone, because I didn't know this guy, right? He was a referral, super nice, but I was like, all right, so if I could wave a magic wand and tomorrow looked exactly like you want it to look like, what is that? Because I want to know who they are. I want to know what drives them. I want to know what motivates them. And after you take that initial conversation, that initial information, and it's probably depending on the client. One of them was about 30 minutes this morning, another one was an hour. So it's going to be somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long they talk and how much they have and how many questions that you have for them. But after we do that, when we come back, Mauricio calls it the lab, right? That's when we pull out the calculators and we're like, okay, for this client, let me type in their FNA. Let me click these calculators. Let me see what this particular person needs. So when I go back to them, I can show them the data and the information and really give them my ideas, right? And so that's why I say it goes hand in hand together. It's not, we used to do it this way, now we do it this way. It's still the same thing. It's just that computation, those calculations in the middle are so much easier and so much simpler and so much visually appealing than what we had before. But on that second appointment, you're going to literally offer them suggestions and recommendations. I like to go through, remember, we have 6 areas of 6 steps that we go through with each of our clients. Who can tell me those? You should know them off the top of your head. If you don't, you need to write them on your mirror, write them in your car, write them everywhere until you can say them literally off the top of your tongue. Anybody can do that for me? What's step number 1?
Increasing cash flow, debt management, emergency fund, proper protection, building wealth, and preserving wealth.
Woo, woo, woo. I love that, Jade. Thank you. I think she's heard that a couple of times too. But ultimately, we go through every single step with all of our clients. We don't make money unless they join our team when we're talking about increasing cash flow, but it is good value add that we're giving to them, right? We don't make money teaching them on how to pay off their credit cards and how to restructure their debt, but I promise you they love you for it because nobody's ever taught them. We don't make money when we teach them about their emergency fund and how much they should have and give them a solution, but I promise you they love you for it because nobody's ever told them. We do make money on proper protection, which is life insurance and now health insurance, right? Medicare, depending on what piece fits them. We make money there. We offer the same solutions, but we're going to make money when we see something there. Also in the building wealth, which is step 5, we make money there, right? That's where our rollovers and our annuities and our IULs and all those pieces, that's where that goes because we're building wealth. And then step 6 is estate preservation, which is wills and trust, which is net law. We make money there too, right? So I'm going to pull up 3 different clients that I just pulled out and pulled all their identifying information. The form that I'm going to show you is the form that we use at the moment to go back with our clients that hopefully the calculator pieces will replace as things kind of formalize out. But it's not going to be the FNA. It's going to be me taking it back and putting it in those 6 areas. But I'm going to show you that because I want you to see what we actually do for clients. I want you to visually see what we do. And I also want you to see how much money you would make. Jody, did you unmute for any reason? Were you gonna say something? Were you gonna correct me? I'm just kidding.
No, I just showed my face. That's all.
I know, it's weird. I'm just kidding. Okay, all right. So I'm going to, and you'll see you'll see the FNA data in here anyway, but it doesn't have their identifying information on here. So even if you knew them personally, you'd have no idea who it was. So we're going to start, I think, with this one. All right. So this is a real live client, and I tried to pull 3 different samples to kind of give you a visual of what it is. But okay, date of birth 1991, so it kind of gives you an idea of their age. I was born 77, 48, so he's, I don't know, younger than me, right? Mid-30s. So what are his goals and dreams? And we always start with that on the FNA questions. And I always go back on this appointment. I say, okay, so we talked last week and this is what you said. You said you wanted to be in a better space financially. You want a better future for and to leave something to your kids. Their ages 6 and 4. You want freedom to travel comfortably. And you want to learn more about money management, and your income goal is a minimum of $8,000 a month. And I read that back to them. When you read that back to them, and that's how you start the second meeting, I promise you 99.999% of the time they smile, especially if you read it back in their words, right? Like when I take these notes, I write down exactly what they say and I just transpose it back here with their words because that's what they said. That is what they want. And I always leave this in a Word document so I can kind of edit it on the second appointment to make any adjustments. How much can he afford to set aside? He can't set aside anything. Okay, traditional financial advisor would be like, why are we meeting? What are we doing? I'm not going to make any money here, right? And that's just how that world goes. So let's see what we actually did. So goal number 1 is to increase cash flow. Makes about $3,500 a month after taxes, and also about $7,000 a year as a football coach. Was looking to change jobs, might get a new job, W-2, blah, 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 right? What are my suggestions? My suggestions are, we're in increasing cash flow section, right? So my suggestion is always consider alternative income streams to add income to your current lifestyle and give you more diversification. Always. I say that every single time. What goes in that conversation right here? If we're talking about increasing income, how do we increase income?
They should come work for us.
They should come work for us. Yeah, they should come work for us. And I say that to them here, not as a hard close, but as a I want you to start thinking about this. And I tell them, your mindset needs to change. Everyone's mindset needs to change. If you guys were in Atlanta last week, you heard me say that anyway, right? Your mindset needs to change. You cannot substantially change the amount of money you make on a monthly basis or budget it enough that you have enough to save to retire. It's just not going to happen. So what are your options? You have to make more money. money, period. It is not a requirement or not a suggestion, it's a requirement, right? How can you make more money? You can get your life insurance license and come work with us. People desperately need to know what we have to offer, and they also need to make extra money and not punch a time clock to do that. Or you can go, get a lawnmower and start a lawn care business, or you can go flip things from the thrift store to eBay, or you can be an Amazon reseller. I don't care what you do. And I say that every single time. I don't care what you do. I just want you to know that you have to do something to make more money. So I've planted that seed, but it's not a hard close. Let me recruit you before I finish your plan conversation. I just really want them to think through that. And then I give them some other advice, like use a budgeting app like Pocket Guard or YNAB or something like that, just to track your spending. Because people need financial education. And the more education we give them, then the more value we're giving them, then the more they like us, they love us, they want to do business with us, right? So step number 2 is debt management. Currently rents, has a car, a wife has a car, lots of small credit card balances. And it just kind of keeps going on. Consolidation loan and a student loan that is in forbearance. So total monthly payments, remember his income is $3,500 a month. Total monthly payments on credit cards are $891 for minimum payments. Cars $924. His installment loans $464, and student loans are nothing. That's painful, right? It's definitely a paycheck to paycheck situation that we're looking at currently at this moment. I didn't have his wife on this call, so she wasn't in this information other than their debt. So maybe they have a little bit more than what we're seeing, but probably not. So recommendation number 1, put all of your credit reporting liabilities on auto pay for the minimum so you never miss one. Every single time, I'm going to recommend that to everyone. I don't care if you don't carry balances on your credit cards. I still want you to have your minimum payment on auto pay, because this one random time when you swipe it for $50 worth of gas and everything's digital and automated, so you don't open your statements anymore, and you think you don't have a balance on there, then you miss it. Now you owe at least $80 for that $50 worth of gas, and you have a ding on your credit report, and it just doesn't make sense, right? It is so simple and so easy, but I also only want the minimum payment on auto pay, because if they have a $5,000 balance, they might not have $5,000 in their checking account that month to pay it, right? They can always overpay it whenever they want to, but with the minimum on auto pay, we know confidently they will never miss it. I also tell them to review their bank and credit card statements every 6 months at minimum. Some people look at me like I'm crazy and they're like, I look at that every day. But other people don't ever look at it because it's digital. So at minimum, I want you to pull every single statement that you have from credit cards and bank statements once every 6 months, say January and June. Just pull those, and I want you to check for auto pays and recurring drafts that need canceling. I could guarantee you that we all waste money that we shouldn't have to waste because we just forget to cancel something. I'm sure I've got something from one of my kids right now if I go back and I look at it. In his situation, I wanted to make sure that his student loans were actually in forbearance because he couldn't afford them at the moment, and I didn't want him to have negative credit reporting. Again, I don't make any money here. I'm just giving advice because I want him to be a client forever, and I really do want to help him, right? And forbearance in a situation like this, they will give you forbearance and basically suspend your payments for a certain period of time and not affect your credit. If he had the ability to overpay any of these credit cards, I would have also told him to only overpay one card at a time. Choose the smallest balance. It doesn't matter to me interest rates or anything like that. My goal is to get rid of them as quickly as possible. Choose the smallest balance, overpay that one card if you're overpaying anything, and once it's gone, roll that up to the next, right? And just a lot of times I'll just give them a schedule. If they're paying an extra $300 a month, I'll show them exactly how it needs to go and what it needs to look like. But you'd be surprised, like that's common sense. We all know it, the snowball method or the avalanche method or whatever, and we've all heard it 1,000 times, but every single time I say that, people are like, I know I should do that. I don't know why I'm overpaying all 5 of my credit cards instead of just overpaying one. I just don't. And because for most people, money is emotional, not mathematical, even though it isn't emotional, it is only math, right? They think if they're overpaying everything, then they're getting ahead a little bit. And really, it's just kind of stagnating the situation. So that's my education piece for him as well in this situation. Emergency fund. Right now, checking and savings is a pass through. Like I said, it is a month to month situation. Emergency fund goal is 12,000, to 25,000 based on the income that he's currently making. He's got a severance coming in. I said, put that in your checking account. He's got a tax refund. I said, put that in your savings account, right? I want some liquid money there so we can get out of this paycheck to paycheck situation. Proper protection. At this moment, he has 0 life insurance based on the dime. Maybe I didn't finish that, but his life insurance need is whatever that says. We could add it together, but and I said, let's check on health insurance too, because he was in between jobs. I wasn't sure what the next job was going to do. So my suggestion was a $750,000 AIG policy, probably a 20-year term, plus a children's rider of $25,000, and the cost was about $65 a month. So in that example, that is something that we are selling. Obviously he needs it, but we're selling it, and that's a product we're going to make money on, right? So we'll talk in a second about what that looks like. Are you going to make a fortune on this one client? No. But are you going to do what's best for him? And when he gets the situation right, is it going to be better and he's going to come to you forever? Yes. So building wealth. He's got a retirement goal of $8,000 a month. He's got an old 401k at principal. And his decision at the time, and you can kind of see why, was, if he surrendered it, how much would he get? And could he pay off his credit cards to alleviate that $1,000 a month going out to then move forward? Is that always the best solution? No. In this situation, it doesn't upset me if that's what he chooses to do. His other option, and we put that on there because that's what he was considering. His other option was to move his old 401k to WFS because he's young, for an actively managed investment account. And so if he does that, then that's a financial opportunity as well. And then preserving wealth, he has no will or trust, right? So I'm going to send you this net law thing, and you can complete that. So with that client, we literally walk them through all 6 steps of their financial life. And let's talk about, and let me see if I can do this whiteboard thing. I'm making this up as I go. Let's see. Can we do it? Can we do it? Okay. I think you guys can see my whiteboard now. Yeah? All good? Okay. All right, so in this example, let's do text because that's a little easier for me. His term is going to cost $65 a month. What other product am I selling him? Where are my income opportunities? Y'all don't draw on my screen because I don't know how to make you stop. What are my other income opportunities for myself that I'm selling him?
Kimberly, I can't see your screen. They say that who can see your screen? I see you.
I can see the screen for sure.
Sheila, maybe it's the
Move
view
it,
that you
okay.
have it on. Maybe slide it over.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. But term policy for $65 a month and net law, right? Whoever's drawing, I can't stop you. So y'all just have to deal with it. I don't know what to do about it. All right. So that's my product opportunity here. I think, and don't quote me because I'm not sure, that net law is like $150 commissionable, something like that. On when you sell one, you get like $150 goes to the grid. So on this term policy, 65 times 12 equals what? I don't know. I'll have to look at my calculator.
It's like 900.
780.
That's what I said.
Thank you. If I'm at the 45% commission level, I'll enter it a little bit. Am I too big over here? Anyway. I'm going to make $351 on this particular piece. And on my net law, I'm going to make $67, right? $67.50. So for this particular client, I'm going to make at the beginning contract level a little over $400, right? $351 plus 67. I'm going to make $418. Is that worth my time? Yes, absolutely. Is it going to make me rich? No, it's not going to make me rich. Did I do what's right for the client? Yes, absolutely. Will he, as he gets his life together, refer people to me, let me help him out? Yes. And also became a teammate, right? So all of those things matter. And this is exactly what we do and why we do what we do. I don't know how to undo some of this. Any questions about this before I go to the next one? Because I want you to see reality, like real life numbers here. Any questions about this? No?
No, ma'am.
Good. It's also not rocket science, right? Like, other than this whiteboard is rocket science for me. It's not rocket science. It's easy, right? I've given him all this education, given him all this information. I made about $400 and I helped him out in, a lot of different situations. Great. Awesome. That's one client. So let's look at another client if you guys don't have any questions about him, because that was pretty simple, right? So let's look at we're going to look at this one first. So here's another client. I think. Yeah. Here. And we'll go through the same thing. All right, so husband is, born in 84, wife is born in 97. You can kind of see what that looks like. What are their goals? Their goals are to grow their business. They want more locations, diversified in more areas. Other than just running a coffee shop, they want, a restaurant, things like that. Build a business that runs itself with a solid foundation. They love to build teams and groups. They want to purchase the current commercial building that they're in, which will cost about $250,000. Build a big ass barn dominium. Again, I'm using their words back to them because this is what they said to me, and it always makes them smile and laugh if you say that back to them. And they want to be financially free in 10 years. They don't want to have to worry. They want to travel when they want to with millions in the bank, and they'd love to have 1 to 3 more children. Those are their goals. So that's what we talk about. That's what we're shooting for. This is what we're planning for. When I ask how much they can afford to set aside monthly, they said $1,000 a month. As we're going through this, what are the 2 things that we're looking for from our perspective on money opportunities for us?
Monthly money and lump sum money.
Thank you. I've trained you guys so well. Lump sum money and monthly money. Obviously, $1,000 a month is monthly money, right? That we can put somewhere. So I want you to kind of look through this as we go. I want you to look for those opportunities. Where's monthly money opportunity? Where's the lump sum money opportunity? So step number 1, they make about $100,000 a year. Same conversation. Consider alternative income streams. Get a budgeting app and make more money. Right? That's where we are. Debt management, they're not in a bad situation. They currently pay $1,900 a month in rent. They've got a car loan. They've got a business loan that they already have set in stone that, that's costing them a lot of money, but, they have it from, I don't know, third party or whatever. And then child support. Same recommendations. All credit reporting liabilities on auto pay. Check your recurring payments, things like that. But there's nothing I can really help them with here because their business loan's already set. I can't get them a business loan any cheaper than 10%. And that's not really what we do anyway, right? So that they're not in a bad place as long as they can service that debt. So that's just an education piece. Emergency fund for them. Money and personal is just pass through. Business checking has about 20,000. The safe has about 5,000. If they'll tell you about that, their tax account has 20,000. And then from their POS, their software, they 1.75% of everything that they swipe goes to savings to help for that. Their emergency fund goal is from 25,000 to 50,000, assuming they're making $8,300 a month income. That is their $100,000 a year. An emergency fund, and this is one of the things that I told them, is needed in addition to the reserves needed to run your business. You still have to have a personal emergency fund, even if you have a big old fat business bank account, right? So I explained that to them and had that conversation. And then I always say, once you have 6 months of income saved, look for investment options and savings accounts. You can Google it now, Wealthfront, Capital One, a lot of them have, they're still paying 3.5% to 4%. It won't always be that way, but while it is, go get it, right? You got money sitting there, go get it. And I always look at how much money, 3 to 6 months they need. I say 3 to 6 months worth of income instead of 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, because most people can't afford to set anything aside anyway, which means they need every single penny of what they have. So in order to prevent an issue later, we want to save 3 to 6 months of that. For her, she had a $250,000 30-year term that was $495 a month, or $495 a year, that she had outside of us. He had no life insurance. Based on the dime, they need $1 million each for both of them. So for him, $1 million 30-year term is $115 a month. For her, $1 million 30-year term is $47 a month. She's female, she's younger, she's cheaper. So here is a financial opportunity for you, right? This is a money-making opportunity for you. You will make money when you sell a term policy. It's also what's best for them. And ultimately, if you take this, let's see. She's currently paying $250,000. She's paying $41 a month for a $250,000 term. I can give her $1 million for $47. Am I replacing that? 100% all day long. That's why you ask them, how much you're paying, how much longer do you have on there? Most of the time, we're significantly more competitive than anything they already have. If we are, and if they're still healthy, we're going to replace it. One thing I will caution you, you're never going to replace a policy until the other policy is in force. I would never want to tell somebody to cancel a policy and then for some reason we run into an insurability issue, and then we don't actually get the life insurance. That would be horrible. Next recommendation, retirement goal for them is between $10,000 and $30,000 a month. They have an old 401k with about $11,000 in there, might get a pension from somewhere. What are my suggestions here? My suggestion is that they contribute $1,000 a month to an IUL for death benefit and also that retirement income stream. And I told them they could review options to decide if we split 50-50 or put it all in one name. They also had no will or trust, so I said, let's do net law. So now let's go and let's look at this whiteboard again and see how much money we're making, because we've definitely helped them out. We've given them education. Now, what does that look like, right? What does that look like? How much money are we going to make? Clear the page. Yes, I want to clear this page. So remember, we have a term policy for him. I'll write on my board, people. Oh, hold on. I'm writing on my board. Okay. So we have a term policy for him. And his was, just pulling it up really quick so I can see. His was $115 a month. Hers was $47. So we have a term policy for him. And hers was $47. We have an IUL. That's $1,000 a month contribution. And we have net law. These are income opportunities for you, right? And all of these people are just real normal people. So if I take this 115 and 47 and just add it together for quick math, right? They're paying $162 a month. If I multiply that by 12, that premium is $1,944. I will tell you on this IUL contribution, it's probably, so whereas term is I take what they're paying, multiply by 12, that's my commissionable premium. It's not always dollar for dollar on an IUL compensation. So this isn't going to be a $12,000 commissionable premium. It was probably closer to, let's say, $7,500, because some of that money was going to overfund it, right, for the investment piece. And then net law is $150, right? So if I go back through this again and I say at the 45% contract level, how much money am I going to make? I have no idea. So let me get my calculator. 1944 times 0.45. This one is $875. And then let's say that I've got 7,500 times 45%. This one is $33.75, and this one is, what did I say, $67.50. So now my total is 875 plus 3375 plus 6750. For doing everything that they needed me to do to put them in a better place, total comp is 431750. Does that make me excited? Is that worth my time? Yes, absolutely. Did I help them? Did I put them in a better place? Are they better off and set for their future? Yes. Right? So, and again, this is beginning contract level. If you're at a RMD position, it's almost double that. So, and I'll tell you that this client, this conversation probably took me maybe a total of 3, I can be generous and say 4 hours, from initial meeting to second meeting to application and all the stuff in between to put the numbers together, right? So once you break it down into these small steps and you look at each step and what you can do and what you can help them with, it makes it so much less overwhelming. Does this help the client? Yes. Does this help you? Yes. Does anybody have a job where they can spend 4 hours and make $4,300? Probably not, right? Maybe 1 or 2 of you, but probably not. Any questions about this? I see you're unmuted,
Hey,
James.
Kimberly, I don't have any questions, but I just want to kind of, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay. Yeah, cool. No, I think that's fantastic the way you laid that out, and obviously just point everything back to the commissions we make and the help and services that we provide the clients and putting them in a better, more favorable position. I think that also what you also get from that, not only are you making commissions on helping them by putting them in a better position, but you're potentially gaining a new recruit that can then take that knowledge that you provided them to be able to transfer to other members of their markets, of their network. And you're also getting referrals to other members of their market and their network to be able to further deepen that level of service to other folks that they know. And I think all the while, you're not going to be running, you got a client for life. You have the opportunity to be able to meet that person not only up front and help them up front, but on annual reviews, whether it's semi-annual or annual reviews, every year moving forward, you know that the policies aren't going to go anywhere and they're going to stick. And I think that's I think what I've noticed with a lot of these agents within our industry that go out and maybe on high comp, they're all about selling, but they provide no education. They make a sale, but then that sale falls through the cracks, and they end up owing that money back to the insurance company because they didn't educate properly and they did a quick sale. They probably didn't get referrals, and they definitely didn't get a recruit. So there's so much extra that we're able to get and not leave on the table that many other agents and companies within our industry just don't have the ability to do.
Right. I agree completely. And I see people in our industry selling transactions. I saw earlier today, I had a client that has about $500,000 on annuities referred to me because he wasn't sure what he had. And, honestly, the guy just churned 5 annuities. So I can't do anything with it either because he's in surrender. So I'm not going to surrender all this money and then, charge him all these surrender fees. But I can teach him and I can say, here's where you are. Here's what your choices are. Here's what we have. And in 5 years or in 10 years, you can come back and be my client and I'll help you. And I'll answer your questions all along the way because I'm delivering value and I'm giving service to him. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. And, I can't speak to that particular advisor. I don't know him personally. So I can't tell you if he thought he was doing the right thing or just reselling a new product for commission. I don't know the answer to that, but I know that it is not what is needed to do. Sheila, I'll answer that question in a minute, the qualification numbers to get to RMD. And if we have a second, then I'll pull it up and go over that. If not, I'll text it to you directly. So if no more questions about that, I'm going to show you guys one more, just so you can get an idea of different samplings of people. So the first guy was, young, probably mid-30s, family, paycheck to paycheck. This couple, he was a little older, she was a little younger, entrepreneur, still had a family, but normal, average, everyday people. Like you would not look at them on the street and think I'm going to make $5,000 by talking to them, right? That just that would not come across that way. And then this particular person, I think, is the one that I'll share now. Okay. So this person, born in 81, goal is to have all debt paid off, no debt, take care of families and her family and siblings wants to travel to Australia, Japan, a safari, China, Antarctica, Boston, Montana. All those places she named, so I named them back to her. She wants to DIY her house. She wants to buy more property and have the freedom to do whatever and whenever and take care of other people. And this is a little bigger plan. So she has the ability to set aside $2,000 a month. She makes about $160,000 a year in income. We had this same conversation, you know, coming to work with us, multiple streams of income, get your insurance license, same conversation to give her more income. Debt management. She owes $30,000 on a $500,000 house. So she's obviously in great position there. And she overpays her mortgage by $300 a month. Now, what are the two things that I'm looking for when I'm going through this and analyzing it?
Monthly money and lump sums.
What is $300 a month?
Monthly money.
Monthly money, right? That tells me I might not change it. I might not reposition it, but it tells me I have access to at least $300 a month more that she's putting towards something that she doesn't have to, right? I just said, congratulations, you have no debt. I don't prefer you to overpay your mortgage. I know getting out of debt's a big goal, but you can make more money outside the walls of your house, right? If you have $500,000 value of your home and you owe nothing, that $500,000 is earning a 0% rate of return. Equity has no rate of return. Only the real estate market is going to go up and down regardless of how much you owe on your house, right? So could that money in the walls make more money somewhere else? Yes. But ultimately, my job is to teach her. It's her job to choose. If she disagrees with me, which she probably does because she's only got $30,000 left on her house, she's going to keep paying it off. But I still taught her. I still told her why. I still gave her a piece of financial education. Credit reporting liabilities, like I said, credit card statements, bank statements, you know, check for auto pays and recurring drafts. Checking and savings, she's got between 10 and 20,000. Her emergency fund goal is 40,000 to 80,000. And I'll have to tell you kind of why I said this, but contribute $1,500 a month to savings to reach your fully funded emergency fund goal. Now, life insurance through work, $350,000, pays $4.73 a month based on what I saw. Obviously, that's cheap. Keep it. That's a no-brainer, right? But based on the dime, your life insurance need is $1.63 million. Your work life insurance is cheap, so keep it, but it's important to have life insurance outside of work too. And these policies have living benefits, right? And we understand what that means. Chronic, critical, terminal illness. So $1 million 30-year term is $98 a month. A $1.5 million 30-year term is $143 a month. Very affordable, very cheap, gives you a 30-year coverage, right? Retirement goals 5,000, retire mid-50s, and you know, what's her social security number? Currently has 369,000 in a 401k, profit sharing of, you know, 85.5, contributes 19% with a $500 dollar for dollar match. What do I see here?
I see a lot of tax burden in retirement because we're overfunding our 401k.
By how much?
Whatever is above the match.
Whatever's above $500, right? So let's just pretend 1% is $500. I don't know. But that gives me 18% of her income that I can redirect somewhere else because she's already putting it here. And I know this because I ask all the questions. This is why we ask all the questions. Brokerage account with right at $1 million, money market of 15,000, limited partnership of 40,000, IRA of 150,000, HSA of 10,000. Big client. She's got a lot of money, right? So what did I do? I gave education. Based on the 4% rule, you can pull $65,000 out of your investments with a 90% confidence that it will continue for the next 30 years. You'll also receive Social Security. Decide how much that's going to be so I can put that into your monthly income goal as well. Then I said to protect against tax and legislative risk, take $25,000 that you're overfunding your 401k. And profit sharing with no match and redirect it into an IUL. Based on the illustration provided, it's going to give you an additional $42,000 of, don't tell Tim, it says tax-free, tax advantaged income, right? So it's going to give you that. And then consider a Roth conversion from your IRA. Check with your tax advisor about your tax implications, right? So I didn't go after all of her money. I can't do anything with her 401k anyway because she's currently at work. She works for another investment company, and they do not allow her to do anything or move any of her money. So that wasn't an option for me to have a conversation with. Had it been an option, then you would have seen WFS on here, and you would have probably seen an annuity suggestion. I think maybe based on her age, maybe not, if that were an option, but it wasn't. That's why you don't see that here. So what income, and then she doesn't have a will or trust, right? 99% of the people that I meet with don't have a will or trust. So what are my income opportunities here? Let's say that we did this $1 million 30-year term for $98 a month. We did this IUL for $25,000 a year, and we did net law. So just to continue down the same path that we were doing, and I go back to this whiteboard really quickly. Yes, I would like to share and continue. Go here. In this example, we can just edit this one, right? And we can say that the term was $98 a month. And so if we take our calculator and say 98 times 12, times 12 is 1176. And if we multiply that times 45, we're at 529. Now, my IUL is $25,000 a month, or $25,000 a year. I wish it was $25,000 a month. And probably, like I said, we're significantly overfunding this. So let's just say the target was 13,000. It might be a little bit more than that. Kathy says net law payout is 200 for the trust package. Thank you, Kathy. And everybody knows that. I'm going to leave it in here right now just because it's here. But if I take this 13,000 and I multiply it by 45%, I'm at 5850. So what is my total comp for this client? And remember, I didn't do all of her other investments. I just did what was available to me to do, and I gave her more information. For this particular client, I would have made $64.46.50. And, other than working in a different investment firm, totally would have come work with us and sold insurance and done that too, because you see the holes in her plan, right? You see what she has out there. Every single penny that she has is taxable. She doesn't have enough life insurance, and she has no will. And we just fix that with a few small tweaks. She still has her other stuff too. She says she only wants to retire with $5,000 a month. She has plenty to retire right now if she wanted to. But ultimately, we do good things for people, and we make a fortune for doing it, right? So I wanted you guys to just kind of have a sampling of what do we do? What does this actually look like? Will I ever figure it all out? And let's kind of talk through that. So we had 3 clients, and in those 3 clients, we sold 3 term policies and 2 IULs. Is that rocket science? Is that hard to figure out? No. Most people are the same. Most people are very similar. So when you understand term, and you understand IUL, and you understand annuities for either accumulation or income, whichever they might need it for, and you understand net law, you have the majority of the tools at your fingertips that we offer to our clients. I know I'm going long. I see a bunch of things in the chat that I don't really know what it says, but anybody have any questions that you want me to answer before we sign off for the day?
Hey, Kimberly, a couple of things. One was it's a fantastic job. I think that this is very timely and very powerful. The other thing is that, there are tools coming behind to support things as to how simple this really is to use in on top of this. But these are very straightforward. I love what you said, is that if you know how to do a basic FNA, a dime, term and a basic IUL and net law, 75% of what you're going to do, you got covered. James, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, no, I just want to just jump on and just kind of, again, give everyone a consistent, friendly reminder that we are 33 days away from Convention of Champions. Going to happen at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, July 21st through the 24th. I've been here 3.5 years, and I love seeing everyone go to these big events. I have yet to miss a big event, whether it's in Vegas in the summer or Orlando in the winter. But again, we're 33 days away. And I love when people always say, "Oh, I forgot. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, excuse." I don't like excuse. So I just want to kind of get ahead of it and just kind of really prime that we got time to book your ticket, to book your travel arrangements, hotel, flight, everything. For those that are on the call that are on my team, again, if there's issues or hurdles that you're trying to cross, just reach out to me and I'll do my absolute damnedest to help each and every one of you, because I really want to see everyone there. And I say that just because I'm a product of the convention and I know how big these big events are, how much money that HGI pours into these giant conferences. I mean, literally, we're going to have probably 7,000 people there. We're going to have all the product providers. Literally, the presidents of each of these carrier companies will probably be there representing them on behalf of HGI, giving us a wealth of information of everything, all the new latest and greatest tools and resources and products that they're coming out with just for us exclusively at HGI. You're going to hear from many of the great leaders of HGI from all over the country, from Aki's organizations to Jody's and other organizations in between, to hear and understand everything that they're doing that's allowing them to have real-time, immediate results and success. And you're even going to hear from those that are newbies in the business. For many of you that are on the call, you may be wondering, well, that's great that you got these big leaders up there, but what about other guys like me? That are new to the business. Well, you're going to get to hear from them on stage as to what they're doing to allow them to have immediate success, immediate results getting off into the business. So, again, it's a big 4-day event. I know that Monday night is going to be kind of for RMDs only. And so if you can't get in that Monday, you definitely need to be there on that Tuesday through that Thursday. Call it, 2 nights in Vegas. And again, there's never a bad reason not to go to Vegas. I mean, for anyone that's ever been into Vegas, it's a fun city. It is Sin City. We like to have a good time, but we are definitely focused on the event. They're all-day events. And again, I just know that if you're serious about growing your business, you need to be serious about investing in your business and investing in you, because your level of success in life is equally proportionate to the level of self-development and self-growth that you go through individually. And it has nothing to do with anybody else but you. And so I challenge you and I encourage you to just, again, get ahead of it, make the arrangements, plan to be there. Your future self will not hate you, but will love you for it. And again, it's going to be a great time, and you're going to get to see not only all of us in person, but many of the other great leaders across the national organization that will be there as well. And again, you're just going to be overwhelmed with just amazement and happiness that you made the decision to go.
All right, thanks. All right, guys, see you in a little while. Thanks for being
Jade
on.
had a question,
Have a
I
great
think.
week.
So before we close, y'all
Sure.
can jump off if you need to. But Jade, do you have a question?
Yep. Not totally related to your training today, but I did have one question. I noticed that Aristotle updated, and so the income possibility calculator that's in Aristotle, do we have any sort of timeline on when that's going to be available again?
I asked Colton when I was there last week, and I was like, "Will you just send it to me separately?" I know he knows, and they're working on it.
Well, I've got that separately. I'll send that to Kimberly and she can send it to you.
Okay, I would really
But I don't
appreciate
know
that.
as far as the back office, but they do know. They are aware. It's just working out
Okay.
all the kinks. So,
Okay. Yeah.
all right,
I've got
guys.
it
Well,
opted,
happy
but
Hey,
I'm
Wednesday,
sorry.
and let's make some moolah. Yeah, James.
Yeah, real quick too, with regards to what Jay just said about the Aristotle update, for everyone that's trying to log in, because I've already fielded several texts and calls about it, you have to clear your cache on your web browser and the data in order to access the updated Aristotle. So whatever your web browser is that you're using, clear the cache, clear the data, and you should be good to go.
Thank you. Okay.